Is this on?
Yeah, we're good, bro.
Okay. Because I don't want to say this more than once. I'm serious. Have you guys ever smoked and hold down to the roach?
No. What?
Well, I'm going to keep this short and blunt. Unfinished. Unfinished. No, seriously, unfinished. Welcome to the Unfinished series, guys. Yeah, that was
You might
very
want to
good.
say that again when we're not laughing this time.
Nah, I think it captured the mood quite well. But yeah, everyone, welcome to the Unfinished series. My name is Kanono Lechuti or Albuti Bay, and I'm your creative conductor. I'm in the esteemed, privileged presence of my mates, who were very instrumental in, getting this product to where we want it to be. Yeah, let's start with Pako. How are you, Pako?
I'm good, Kanono. Hi. My name is Pako, Lekoko. I am the founder and president of The Runway. I am an analyst with an undergraduate degree in actuarial science and a master's degree in business analytics. I am a thought provoker, an insight bringer. I'm a problem solver. I'm a creator.
Fire.
Hi.
I don't know how I'm supposed to beat that, bro. Oh.
So, Lamont.
Hi, my name is Lamont Loeto. I am simply an engineer, a choreographer, and a creator, currently based in Botswana. I don't have all the other good stuff that she mentioned, of course.
Yeah, I think mine is pretty much similar to Lamont. I don't think I have a lot to say, but just a brief overview. Just like Pako, I'm a recent graduate, and I'd say an analyst at this point, just to wrap everything together. I'm also an artist, and I'm trying to, improve myself or promote myself to a multi-dimensional artist. And I'm hoping this product is one of those things that, push me to the next level. Yeah. So without further ado, we're all here to introduce this new Unfinished called The Reach. The Reach is an ode to a sojourner, and it basically talks about the experience of a young individual leaving home to go study abroad or improve their career abroad. And this is supposed to encompass the earlier appreciation we usually feel before you go abroad, and also the appreciation when we come back. What is usually hidden is the inevitable change, struggle, and adaptation that usually happens in between. And the aim of this product is just basically to encompass all of that in more detail, to give that story that we don't usually hear. This was told through a series of 6 sketches. 6 sketches, with the first one being this one. And the piece is called, like I've mentioned, The Reach. Just to give you guys another overview of why we call this project The Reach and how it's gonna roll out, I'd first start by giving an introduction to what reach is. And if you go into Google and Google the definition of the reach, you will get 4 definitions: 2 verbs and 2 nouns. The 2 verbs are: 1, to stretch out an arm in a specified direction in order to touch or grasp something. So he reached over to and turned off his bedside light, which is the first definition. The second one is to arrive at or get as far as, which is, for example, goodbye, she said as she reached the door. The 2 nouns are an act of reaching out with one's arm. For example, she made a reach for him. And then the last and most important is the extent or range of something's application effect, or influence. For example, he told a story to illustrate the reach of his fame, and that's verbatim. So, with one singular word, um, this one singular word has been used in four different ways, or can be used in four different ways, and can also be interpreted in four different ways. And I believe this gives us a perfect opportunity to introduce and speak on, firstly, the difference in perspectives and the difference in interpretations, which is what I felt is largely the underlying issue of the well is dry. The reach or the well is dry is supposed to encompass how perceptions aren't always as they seem. The well is dry. We all expect the well to be wet. It's a well for a reason. So, why is the well dry? Who told us it was wet? And why aren't we getting the results we were looking for? This is what the whole journey will be talking about. Reaching out, um, all those different, interpretations. We're going to talk about them. First and foremost, the reach, the artwork. This artwork shows two hands. The first doing the I'm okay sign. It's an enclosed hand showing everybody that I'm okay. Meanwhile, there's a little hand that stretches out from within and reaches out into what seems like, yeah, it's just reaching out. We don't see what it's reaching to, but that's the whole point of all the six sketches we are about to see. um yeah, I think that pretty much gives the artistic overview. Let's first start with Lamont and then talk about what this particular piece meant to them.
All right. So, in order for me to properly explain what the piece meant, it's important for me to explain or expound on the point you made about the well is dry and
Mm-hmm.
explain exactly what that means and where that idea came from. So, the well is dry was a concept that I came up with maybe sometime towards the end of last year. And it was a concept about a student that travels abroad expecting to find a better life or build a better life either for themselves or for the people around them. And then going there and realizing that all the sort of glamorized perspectives or perceptions that they may have had about this place, which is meant to be ideal, are not necessarily always true, or
Mm-hmm.
they may not necessarily appear that way.
Mm-hmm.
So that phrase or that title, "The Well is Dry," was meant to encompass that idea. Now, in order for me to express that idea, I felt like one way to approach it would have been to create a visual concept
Mm-hmm.
which could accompany it and really try to explain it. And during the process of coming up with that, I was like, okay, I happened to run into these guys that ran a clothing label back in school in the UK. And I was like, hey, I have this concept, and I think it would really be cool if we could find a way to illustrate this or tell this story from clothing down to a full video concept. And they were down for it. They trusted my idea. I
Mm-hmm.
explained it to them in full. And they were like, okay, we can go ahead and do it, but how are we going to do it? What exactly is that? What does that look like?
Mm-hmm.
Then I was like, oh, I know this guy that does these illustrations, that person being yourself, that does these really in depth illustrations with specific topics. And he also happened to have schooled in the UK at a point. So I think if I was to approach him and fully explain this concept to him, he'd be able to appreciate it more. And I did just that almost immediately after I met with them the first time. I was like, yo, I reached out to you. I was like, this is what I'm thinking of doing, and I
Mm-hmm.
just need a sketch, which one sketch specifically, which I think would tell the story the best, which was a sketch with the eyes,
Mm-hmm.
and just, eyes that supposedly tell a story about something, whether it's crying or pain or whatever. That's all I requested, and that's all I expected from you. And of course, being being the star, I don't know, the star gentleman that you are, you decided to come with six sketches
Mm-hmm.
because, again, I felt like, or at least I think the reason you did that was because you explained to me later is that it was a topic that you'd always sort of wanted to delve into, and you'd attempted to have that conversation before, but for whatever reason, maybe the timing wasn't right, or you hadn't found the correct way to fully express it. And then I came to you at this specific time. I was like, yo, I also have this idea. And you're like, this is perfect timing for this thing, which I've been wanting to do. So you went ahead and did it. We got the 6 sketches. Now that brings us to sketch number 1.
Sketch number 1.
All that to say, we're at sketch number 1 now. This being I guess this is when you're leaving. This is that initial stage.
Yes, that is the initial stage. The appreciation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When you're beginning to really, you're coming to terms with the idea of leaving home. And you're trying to appreciate exactly what that means. You haven't really experienced any of the sort of, any of the challenges or even the good side of what is to come. All you really know is what people have told you about it and what you've seen just from TV or research or whatever. That's your entire perception. You don't really have a personal experience with it. So that thumbs up to me, it was just like, you telling people that, no, I'm good. I'm excited to go home. I'm excited to go abroad, and I'm fine. Don't worry about me. I'm ready. This is all I've wanted my entire life, And then that arm reaching out is like, yo, but I might need some help. I don't necessarily know what I'm doing yet because I haven't experienced it. I just know what I think it's going to be. And it's really just coming to terms with all of that and that appreciation and just sort of that hand breaking away. So initially it might have just been that brown element that you see, just the full hand, like there's nothing wrong. And then the closer you get to leaving or actually at the point of departure, everything starts to break away. And then you actually, now you're by yourself. Even if you're with people, you still feel like, okay, now I'm by myself and I'm alone and I have to figure this thing out because for all I know, no one's going to be able to help me. I'm the only person I have.
So that's pretty much how you laid it out to me beforehand in terms of the artistic approach, how you wanted everything to run. And I felt like, the reason why I went from 1 sketch to 6 sketches was because I felt, the story, it's much more detailed than 1 sketch could possibly, tell. I feel like the 6 sketches altogether say, I have a story to tell, whereas 1 would have just, done a summary. And I feel like the reason why we don't want to do a summary is because we're seeing this story, the reach, it's in bracket, you don't hear it, it's like that silent thing. And if you were, like you said, if you were to look at this hand from the back, you wouldn't see the little hand reaching out. So people from this side wouldn't necessarily see the reach out, the struggle or whatever you'd be talking about. While from this side, they just see, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. And I feel like that was a good start to how the story, it pretty much tells the whole story before we actually delve into it. Pako.
For me, though, I think for me it's a bit different. I think here, the burst of colors in the big hand and just, the whole thumbs up really says excitement from everyone's perspective, from the community, from even yourself. You're like, I worked hard, I achieved this thing, and then the hand inside, to me, is not necessarily saying, I need help. It's like I'm reaching for my goals. I'm about to get it,
Right.
The second definition, to arrive at.
Exactly. And also the stretching arm, I'm reaching for something, I'm gonna get it.
I'm gonna get it.
Get what I mean? So for me, this first one is just like, guys, you know what? I worked hard. I'm about to do my thing. You're about to see me. So I think for me, this is like jubilation. And this is like Lamont was saying, you don't really have a personal experience with it, but it's just what you've seen, what you've heard, what you imagine, and it's all good. It's exciting, So yeah, I think for me this is a happy piece for me.
It is a happy place, to be honest. And like you said, you are reaching out for something, and I feel like at that point in time, that something was opportunities. It was opportunities you couldn't find here, which was why going that side was signifying, going to greener pastures,
Yeah.
to a wet well, to a wet well. And yeah, you mentioned the communities, and that's also part of something I wanted to tackle. Approaching this entire issue from the eyes or from the perspective of the three different stakeholders, because there's firstly the sojourner or the person who's living here, going abroad, as the individual, how you feel. And we've already expressed already. There was a lot of happiness with being able to go abroad or sponsor you for school. And then secondly, it's our families. We were leaving our families behind. And, even though this is quite sad, it was a happy moment for our families. No, it wasn't. It is sad. No, it is sad because the families they do not want to be together. And then all of a sudden you are about to go to this entirely new place. So a family is separating there. It is bound to cause a little bit of friction, but it didn't during the first stage. Everybody was happy. And then the last stakeholders would be our sponsors, the government, who, like we've mentioned already, they footed the bill. So they also wanted to see results, and they were happy to be sending, what they felt were part of the top students in the country to a place where they could, get these opportunities and find ways to come back home and transform the place in Goromoroyone. So, like I said when we talked before, it was like, what's the word? I forgot what the word is, but spying. It's like sending
like
spies.
out
Yes,
your
sending out
best
your best
troops.
spies.
Yeah.
Exactly. But the information, and then when they come back, the whole point is to be able to use them as the channels to that outside world we all want to drink from, because I don't think the opportunities we were looking for were just centered around us. I feel like everybody who was involved felt like whatever you're gonna get that side has to improve the world aside.
That's so true.
Aye.
I think also we shouldn't kind of detach students who are sponsored by the government from students who are, I'm going to say, self-sponsored. Because in that case, the parents are playing two roles. Yes, family, but also
the government,
the financial sponsor. Yeah. Because in all honesty, we can't say that we are the only ones who go through this stuff.
Yes, no.
Any and every student that has gone that side has honestly gone through the same kind of journey. Yes, there'll be variations, but it's the same. Regardless
if not
of who's
worse,
putting
actually.
Exactly, if not worse, because there are some students by Nokore, their parents could not fully afford to be able to give them the allowance that we were getting, right?
And they had to.
Yeah,
that was the minimum. But regardless of the parents still had to do that.
Exactly.
That's just remarkable. But all in all, I'd say the aura of the first picture is appreciation, it's happiness, it's I'm fine, even the hand that's reaching out, it's just there. It's reaching out for opportunities. So it's a good time. Hey, it's exactly, it's still colorful. That's another very important detail. This sketch, there's still so much color to this person. Like I feel like it's not dull, it's colorful. Yeah.
I think you've both done an excellent job of summing that up.
I'd close it out with saying, stay in tune for the next sketch.